Very good evening, Dhamma friends. Welcome back.
Good evening, Bhante.
We're going to get started OPRC class after a couple of weeks. So before we get started, shall we pay respect to the Buddha? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I think we have a couple of newcomers as well for today. And I have already given them a chanting group. So please follow the others when you get the chance for this. Okay, so OPRC class once again is a place where we discuss primarily about how to how to chant the proper suttas, Pali as necessary. On the other hand, uh, learning the contextual meaning of the Pali text. Pali text always carry two meanings: literal meaning and contextual meaning. So, without understanding the both meanings, especially the contextual meaning, we may misunderstand, we may misinterpret those texts. So I think that is a very important thing that we are going to do. We've been doing actually for almost 64 days, starting from last year, since July, perhaps June 2023. Now, one very good example is Anatta, the Pali word Anatta, Anatta. It's a very interesting uh, presumably the most important level of our life. A lot of translations go for anatta as a non-self, in non-self, or no self. So, how to give a proper translation for this Pali word anatta? If there is no self, then who are we and what are we doing? Who has come here for Zoom meeting? There are many names over here. Who has come up here? Right? So translation cannot be non-self or no self. It has to be not self. At a certain point of this understanding about us, we come down to a level that yes, self exists with changes, but at a time we cannot even take it as self. But not saying that there's no self, then who is doing all these things? It's going to be a poor translation. So in the same way, there are many other Pali uh, concepts that have been mistranslated, misunderstood, simply because they do not understand the contextual meaning. They do know the literal meaning of Pali. They do know. Most of them, they know the literal translation. But the problem is the contextual translation means in what context is that particular Pali concept being used. We have to understand that particular context. In order to understand that, I have hinted you a very interesting methodology. It is to read the preceding paragraph and also the following paragraph. So let's say, suppose we are going to read one particular paragraph, then we are trying to understand this paragraph, the Dhamma thing around this paragraph. In order to understand this particular paragraph, we have to go back to the preceding paragraph. What is it talking about? And then the following paragraph. Where is it leading to? Only by understanding, reading these two paragraphs before, after, then we can have a thorough understanding about that particular Dhamma concept. So this is the very purpose of starting this kind of class, where you see most of the time you may go to Pali classes, like learning Pali language. I know it's good. It's good for many, but the thing is that we know that we don't have lots of time, and you don't have either. Plus, we have to learn Pali in a way we should be able to understand the Pali text, especially the Dhamma part. Right. So I warmly welcome everybody into the class. those who have been joining today for the first time, and we'll be getting into the text today. So this is again the Dhammapada stanza. We've been picking up Dhammapada stanzas for the last perhaps 3 to 4 months almost, and we have now almost somewhere in the Chitta Vaka. Chitta means thoughts, chapter on thoughts. So we have a Samaneri today. Samaneri, what's your name? Arya Vimalani.
Yes, Bhante.
Yes. We had a Samaneri from France. Actually, she's from Vietnamese Samaneri, but somehow she said she could not come in. But yeah, perhaps she might come back. The timing problem. Yes.
Thank you for accepting me.
Sorry?
Thank you for accepting me to this.
You accept anybody for Dhamma. There's no restriction. Yes.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Right. Okay, let's go to the class. Okay, what is this thing? And okay, lesson number 65, Dhammapada, stanza number 40. So, for those people who are joining for the first time today, I wanted to say something. Are we going to do the class every Thursday most of the time? Is that for the first 20 to 25 minutes, I'm asking you to read. So there are groups already, almost 8 groups. So I hope that you already got your group. So you please follow the others, and then they are pronouncing, they are reciting. So if I see that there is a pronunciation mistake, so I'm going to make it in a nice way. Not that how come you guys incorrectly pronouncing this thing. I know you are learning. So nicely helping out to pronounce. And then after that, probably almost 1 hour plus time will be explaining. There's a small Q&A time. Okay. Have to get rid of this act. Stop. Chitta Vaka number 40. Kumbhopamang kayamimang viditva. Kumbhopamang kayamimang viditva. Nagarupamang chitta midang tapit. Yodhetamarang anya budhena. Jitancha rakhe anivesano siyan. Once again. Kumbhopamang. Sometimes you need to know the place where you're going to place the pose. Kumbhopamang, kaya mimang viditva. Nagarupamang chitta midang tapit. Yodheta marang panya budhe. Jitang cha rakhe anivesano siya. Okay, so now I'm going to be asking groups to read. First, be asking group 1 to read. Anybody from group 1? Yeah, please raise your virtual hand. Yeah. Okay. Mei Ling, please go ahead.
Hi, Bhante.
Yes, please.
Kumbhopamang kaya mimang viditva. Nagarupamang citta midang tapetva. Yodita marang panya wudena. Jitan cerake anivesano siya.
Okay, great. And group 2, yes. So there are 2 who would like to read. There's Suzanne and then Kim. Yeah.
It's okay, let Kim go. Thank you.
Okay. Please, Kim, please go ahead.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
Kumbhopamang kaya mimang viditva. Nagarupamang citta midang tapetva. Yodata marang panyawudena jitang cerake anive sano siya.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And, yes, group 3 at Chupin. Oh, Chupin and Biling who would like to go. Yes.
Bhante, Ahmad.
Yeah.
Biling plus.
Okay, Biling, please go ahead.
Oh,
Chupin.
sorry, I don't know. But okay, Bhante, go.
Yes.
Kumbu pamang kaya mimang biditwa. Nagaru pamang cita midang tapetwa. Yo deta marang panya budena. Jitang ce rake anivesano siya.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Group 4. Yeah. Anyone from group 4? Yes. Owen, please go ahead.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
Kumbu pamang kaya mimang
Kumbum
Ah.
pamam kaya mimang viditwa. Nagaru pamang cita midang tapetwa. Yodeta marang punya wudena.
Panya.
Panya wudena. Jitang ce rake ani vesano siya.
Okay, great.
Thank you,
TC, I
Bhante.
will give you the chance later. Okay. Group 5. Yes, Melinda, please go ahead.
Thank you, Bhante. Kumbu paman kaya mimang biditwa naga dupaman cita midan tak petwa yodeta marang panya bodena citan ce rake anive sano siya.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Group 6. 6, we got 2 TC and then someone area who would like to go. I mean, yes.
It's okay. Let the other participant to carry on.
Okay, I will give you the chance later. Yes,
Yes,
someone,
yes, sure.
please go ahead.
You mean I will do it?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Kumbu pamang kaya mimang viditwa. Nagaru pamang citang midang tapetwa. Yodeta marang panya wudena. Jitang ce rake anive sano siya.
Great. And group 7. Yeah. Anybody from group 7? Group 7. Today, I think we got a couple of them into group 7. Hope if we have this individual problem. Yeah, do we have Sister Hui? Sister Hui? Yeah, please, you can try. You are here with us.
Kumbu pamang kaya mimang viditwa. Nagaru pamang cita mitang tapetwa. Yodeta marang panya wudena. Citang ce rake anive sano siya.
See, you are a fast learner. Yes, great. Group 8. The last group. Group 8. All right, if there are leaders from group 8, I will ask others to. Oh, yeah, Chompakla, please go ahead.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes, please.
Kumbu pamam kaya mimam viditwa. Nagaru pamam cita midam tabetwa. Yodeta maram panya wudena. Jitang ce rake anivesano siya.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And now we are going Okay, we're going to give the chance to others, but we'll start with a couple of them that we were able to accommodate at the beginning. So starting with Suzanne, and
Good
then
evening.
who else? Yeah,
Good evening.
Suzanne
Thank you.
first.
Kum
please.
pamam kayamimam viditava nagarupamam chitamidam tapetva yodheta maram panyavudhena jitancha rake anive sano siya.
Okay, great.
Thank
And then
you.
who was the other one who was going to read with B. Ling? Yes, who could not read? That was perhaps I can't remember.
Bhante, me Chupeng.
Please, Chupeng, please go ahead.
Thank
Yes.
you, Bhante. Good evening, Bhante.
Yes, good evening, please.
Kumpu pamang kaya mimang viditwa. Nagaru pamang cita midang tak petwa. Yodeta marang panya wudena. Citang ce rake anivesano siya.
Okay, great.
Thank you,
And then we
Bhante.
have TC. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Bhante. Kumbu pamang kaya mimang vititwa. Nagaru pamang cita midang tapetwa. Yodeta maram panya wudena. Jitang ce grake anivesano siya.
Great.
Thank
Then
you.
we have, yeah. Yes, I think you are from, right? Oh, Mei-Ling. Yes, please, Mei-Ling. I think I can't say your name properly.
Pauline. Pauline.
Yeah.
Sukihotu.
Yes.
Kumbu pamang kaya mimang viditwa. Nagaru pamang cita midang tapetwa. Yodeta marang panya wudena. Jitang ce rake anive sano siya.
Okay, great. And then Mei-Hui, yes.
Kêu Bhante, kumbu pamang kaya mimang viditwa. Nagaru pamang cita midang tepetwa. Yodeta marang panya wudena. Citang ce rake aniveseno siya. Aniveseno siya.
Anivesano.
Aniveseno siya.
Way.
Aniveseno siya.
Anniversaries, yeah. Some people look at it like anniversary, it's not like anniversary. Anniversaries, yeah. It's like Chitan Charaki anniversaries. Looks like the same.
Anivesano siya.
Yes,
Thank
great.
you, Bhante.
Yeah, great. And then Puchun, yes.
Good evening. Thank you, Bhante.
Yes, good evening.
Kumbu pamang kaya mimang viditwa. Nagarupamang citamidang tapetwa. Yudeta marang panya wudena. Citang ca rake anivesano siya.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And we have Serene. Yes.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
Kumpu pamam kaya mimam viditwa. Nagaru pamam cita midang te petwa.
Tapetwa, together.
Ta petwa. Ta petwa. Yodeta marang panya wudena. Citang ce rake anivesa no siya.
Great.
Thank you,
And
Bhante.
we have Jenny. Yes.
Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening. Yes.
Kumbu pamang kaya mimang viditwa. Naga rupamang cita midang tatpetwa. Yodeta marang panya wudena. Jitan ce rake aniveseno siya. Aniveseno siya.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And we have Lisa. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Bhante. Kumbu panam kaya mimam viditwa. Nagarupanam Chitamidam Tapeva. Yudheta Maram Panya Vudhena. Chitanche Rake Anive Senosia.
Okay, great. Anybody else who would like to read? Anyone else? We are only discussing only one stanza today, so. Who would later decide in the last minute who may decide to read? Okay, interesting. Good. Okay. All right, I think that's pretty much everybody. And I would like to raise a message over. Oh, somebody forgot group number. Okay, I'll get back to you. Don't worry. Okay, I just wanted to give an update about my time. Actually, I'm moving to the Philippines by this weekend for my new position as in a university. So I'll be doing this class from there from next week. The reason is that I'm taking up a new position as an assistant professor at a university in Manila. So I'll be I'll be continuing, so don't worry. So I'll be continuing. I hope that 6 o'clock is going to be really working for me, 6 or 7:30. I just wanted to say to my students here at OPRC officially. Okay, so then let's go back to the text. Okay. It looks like the first two lines are about similes. Kumbha. What is kumbha actually in Pali? Kumbha. Pali word is kumbha, not u. Upamang means actually the two Pali words have been combined. Kumbhupam. Kumbha means a clay pot. So the Buddha is asking the monks here in this story, 500 monks, to consider one's body as the nature that has with the clay pot. So viditva means having understood that this body is like a clay pot. And then the body is like a clay pot. And then nagarupamang chittamidam tapetva. It's about the chitta. This is how this stanza is connected to the chittavagga here. See? It comes under chittavagga because of this line actually. Nagarupamang chittamidam tapetva. And then consider that your thoughts are like a fortress or maybe a city, because it has to be taken as a city. But at that time, the Pali understanding about the Nagara is a place where the government of a certain king is located. That means the kings were living in the city, Nagara. Nagaras were very much protected by the soldiers and the forces. So consider your thoughts. That means you put it as mind too. Your thoughts or the mind, which has thoughts, as a fortress. Now, this is the good part actually. Normally, people don't get to that place, in their usual understanding. They don't take it body as a clay pot and mind which has thoughts as a fortress or a city. And then yodeta marang panyaude. Now here there is a certain weapon which the Buddha talks about. Avudha. Avudha means weapon. Avudha means weapon. This part. Avudha. What kind of weapon is that? It's not a physical weapon like a gun or a knife. It is panya. Panya weapon. Now the problem is, how do we understand this kind of a combination of words? Panya is a weapon. Is it in the literal sense or is it in the metaphorical sense? It is in the metaphorical sense. In Pali, there are a lot of similes and metaphors. Now the Buddha says in the Alavaka Sutta, Saddha bijang tapo buddhi panyami yuganangalang hiri esa mano yotam satime palapajam. So when he went to Kasibharadwaja, the Brahmin Kasibharadwaja, he was farming at that time. So he saw Buddha had an arms bone and seems to be like he's begging for the food, right? He said, I'm not going to give you any food. You go and do a job and make money and then eat your food. And then the Buddha said, I also farm like you. Then he asked, where is your paddy field? Where are your crops? Where are your buffaloes? Where are your other tools that you are using for the cultivation? Then the Buddha said, answer in a metaphorical sense. He said, Saddha bijang, my crops are not your crops. It is trust. Saddha. Saddha bijang tapoutti. You need shower, rain. But my rain is tapo, penance, taking care of my senses. Very interesting. So it doesn't mean that everybody who is doing cultivation, they have to become like Buddha kind of farmers, This whole world will become a problematic place. This is what we call spiritual farming. They talk about industrial farming. Farming in a rural side, countryside, but this is called spiritual farming. We have to farm in our fertile area. That's why Buddha in the Sanga's great qualities, he uses a Pali word for that. Anuttarang punya ketang lokasati. Punya ket. Ketta means paddy field. Punya, merit. A paddy field of merits. So then where is it located? Can we go and then take some of the merits and come back here? Where is that merit paddy field located now? Normally there are ketters, paddy fields everywhere. If you go to some places, farmers, they do their farming. So they have to find out a fertile land, not a barren land. That means something very interesting. When you want to do good karma, you have to find out a fertile land for the good karma. Sometimes you do good karmas on an infertile land. What is more problematic about fertility, infertility? Having babies or not? The usual understanding. Then, just because you want it, it won't happen. A lot of conditions are going to condition. Sometimes you want to do good karma, but you do it, but no results. Not many results. Then you think about later on that day. I've been chanting every day. I've been putting the placing the candle every day in front of the Buddha statue. And I've been going to the Bihar almost every week for giving dana. But my life is still terrible, miserable. What's wrong with me? Self-question, what's wrong with me? Are you thinking about, have I been, harvesting on a fertile land of good karma? That means the way how we do the good karma matters. The people who are going to involve in the good karma, to a certain extent, matters. And then the way how we are going to prepare the good karma matters. The way how I do the chanting, the way how I do the meditation, the way how I read Dhamma, the way how I do my overall Dhamma practice matters. That's why fertility, meritorious fertility matters. The Buddha said, Punya Kettan. If you want to get a lot of good karmas, Sangha is one of the Punya Kettan. Not even the Sanghas. A lot of people, they forget about this part. Maybe they don't know. The Buddha said there are 3 Punya Kettas, fields of merits. The first is the mother. Mother is one of the unparalleled meritorious field. And then the father is one of the unparalleled meritorious, and then the Sangha. Some people, they don't take care of their mother, father. They go to the Sangha and then take care of them very nicely. And then looking back, I have no more good karmas when I go back home. It's a hell. But the problem is they make it in that because they have not read these texts widely. The Buddha said there are 3 Punya Kettas: mother, father, Sangha. I understand there are sometimes You are not able to keep up with your mother. You may not be able to keep up with your father. Then so should I walk away from these people? No. You know how to deal with them at a certain point. But you do your responsibilities. That's it. You don't expect anything from the mother, father. Sometimes they are not saying thank you to you. Maybe it is implied in the practice, but you are doing that, whether they are saying thank you or not. Sometimes in our life, we are expecting a thank you, but those people are not giving us. But if we expect the thank you and do the things, we are running into a lot of problems. Then you choose the people to help out. Right? Then you have to choose the people to help out. In one of my retreats, there was somebody who was saying to me that in one of the metta talks, I've been talking about when you want to do the metta, sometimes you have to be selective in your practice at the beginning, and then you are slowly spreading that out. And I trusted somebody, I lended lots of money, 100,000 money. But later I understood when it comes to the repayment time, the person said, no, in another 5 years' time, I'm going to pay you back. It's not going to happen. And the idea that the person was bringing up, if I had listened to that Dhamma talk before the COVID, I would have not lended that money to that person. When I want to help out somebody extra, I have to know that person selectively. Extra help. You're going an extra mile to help somebody else. Otherwise, you will go through some problems. It doesn't mean you have to stop helping others. You are generally helping. But if you are going to help out somebody in particular, then you need to know that person. Right? So in the same way, we here understand that part. So we going back to our point here, there are a lot of metaphorical words that we need to understand when it comes to learning Pali. So here, the Buddha said, understand the body which carries the same nature of the destruction. What is happening to a clay pot? Clay pot can be broken anytime, right? Can be broken anytime. But the thing is that just because it has the nature of being broken at any time, do we have to always think that clay pot is going to break, is going to break, is going to break? That is also a misunderstanding. Right? Now we know body is here. This body can get sick. It can, at certain points, go through a lot of pain. But just because of that, we don't have to cultivate a certain negative, pessimistic attitude. Right? We don't have to. Because if you create that attitude, it not only affects your spiritual practice, it affects your overall understanding about the life. So understand it has that perishable nature, but you have to take care of the body. Because in order to practice Dhamma, you need a body, right? You can't be a ghost and practice Dhamma, right? You have to carry a healthy body. Carrying a healthy body is a necessary requirement in the practice. But not that you are choosing one or the other. Sometimes there may be somebody who might be thinking, who might be giving advices to others, Don't have to, eat, drink this kind of food. You have to quit. But that person might be smoking a lot. A heavy smoker is advising somebody, hey, quit having sugar. Right? Both are having similar issues, different ways. So we are looking at it in a way that really work. So body has to be understood in a way, in a positive way, that this can be perishable at any time, but I take care of it for the sake of this practice and other your secular activities. Kumbhupama. Kumbha means clay pot. Kaya mimang viditta. Let's talk about this kaya. It's a very interesting Pali word, kaya. What does kaya mean? Kaya.
Body, Bhante.
Kaya means
Body.
body. No connection to kaya butter, right? It's just kaya. Kaya means kind. It's the body. It has 5 aggregates. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. But we particularly take Rupa part. Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana part, they are Nama part. So, Kaya is a reference. It can be a immense help, immense support for us to practice Dhamma. What if you are very much sick all the time? Always worrying, complaining about your body ache, pain, you can't walk, you cannot talk, you cannot do anything. So you are suffering a lot, right? But sometimes, if you had taken care of your health really well, I think that kind of a body really can help you to practice Dhamma. Then, Nagarupamam chittamidantapitva. The Buddha says, consider that your mind, which has thoughts, as a nagara. How is it going to be connected? What is the connection between a city and the mind? How do we understand this part? In order to understand this connection between the city, you call it a fortress or a city, and the mind, we have to go to the ancient times. How, as I said earlier, how was the city protected in ancient times? Normally, city is the Nagara is the place of the kings. So they highly protect the Nagara. So they have what you call some water stream where they might have put some crocodiles in there. Somebody come, instantly the crocodile is going to attack these people. There may be some other, I would say, setbacks for the enemies to get in the palace, the city. And there are soldiers, there are espionages, right? And there are many, many setbacks for any enemy to enter into the city. So the Buddha says, make your mind, which has thoughts, like that kind of a city. Don't let the object take you over very fast. So build up a very strong city. Now, normally, this strong city means that, let's say your city is your mind. If someone does not have a strong mind, I wouldn't say strong mind, a wholesome mind that has not been practiced for long, what happens is that the external object directly impacts that mind. But if that person has a certain Dhamma practice, certain meditation part, attitude change, Noble Eightfold Path practice, dana practice. So if this is consistently going on, then what happens when the external temptations, objects going to disturb you, on the way to disturb you, those tiny little practices can abort the plan of that external object. So those practices are really going to work as a kind of a defense to you. Right? They are tiny little projects, I would say, dana, sila, bhavana, and all these small projects. They are going to lower, probably they are going to sort of slow down, at the same time stop the strong effect that they are carrying to your mind. Now, normally you might think that, okay, no problem, never mind. Whatever that comes to my mind, I will take care of it. I will do a meditation. It's not easy. It might not work. When the object's already in your mind, it's very difficult to work with it. That's the nature. So better to create a certain, what you call a defensive system. You might call it, what you call, anti-kilesa system around you, like anti-kilesa system. So then when those attacks are coming from outside, they are automatically becoming, neutralized with that system around you. Now, one very good example is what you call being surrounded with the Kalyana Mitras. So when you have Kalyana Mitras around you, possible akusala attacks will be reduced in half, because your exposure is to those people. Someone might say, no, sometimes we have to be unwise people. There's an unwise effect. But anyways, it's good to create this defensive system around you. I mean, how to make it? You have to keep practicing some tiny little Dhamma activities. So those activities can help you not to get what you call influence, not to get affected by those attacks in the first place. That's very important. So that's why the Buddha said, make your mind a place like a city, and how the city was guarded, protected by the ancient kings. Okay. You can think about certain other plans, possible practical plans. Think about a city. Nowadays, these road development people, they are thinking, engineers, they are thinking the vehicle flow that is coming from one state and passing our city onto the other state. We don't let these cars come into the main city. So they are making circular roads. They are making ring roads. So the trucks that are coming from one state, passing one possible city, are not entering the city. They are skipping the city from another circular highway onto the other part of the end of the city and entering another state. In the same way, when the akusalas are coming to you, probably you can let them go on another route, and they are not coming to you. So that's why we have to create a nagara. You can take an ancient nagara or a modern nagara. Think about the setup of the both nagaras. What are the other things we can notice in the present city? One thing is that when you see the city management, city planning, these people, they are planning in a way not to let a lot of vehicles coming into the city. That's one thing. And other examples, there's a big problem with regard to the traffic. Right? This is another very big problem. Every city is going through more or less. You take it as akusalas that the city is getting. So then how to come up with certain alternative plans, how to minimize these cars that are entering the city, rush hour, morning and evening. So let's say, if you look at your life every day, there are certain times during the day that you are heavily bombarded with the akusalas. Tell me those times. If you spend from morning to evening, there are certain times that you are heavily influenced by the akusalas. You can, of course, think about meals time, breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner time, heavily influenced by the food temptation. What about other times? Watching news, looking at some news about certain things, people dying from natural disasters, wars. You get certain kind of, different thoughts that are coming to your mind, thoughts. It doesn't mean you should stop watching news. I mean, I'm just trying to show you some of the areas. And then what else? So there are certain times that you may have akusalas heavily. So then it is like a rush hour in a traffic jam, right? Morning and evening. I think other times are just okay. So then the cities are trying to plan out certain measures to curb this traffic issue. What are they going to do? They introduce certain MRT trains, trains that are going for the work people. So in that way, they're going to let go of thousands cars on the ground. But still, this is happening, right? Maybe one person in one car, right? It's not carpooling, right? And people sometimes they pretend, in Canada a long time ago, I remember there was somebody, we have an HOV lane, high occupancy vehicle, and somebody is going with somebody, the police saw, then they stopped the car and they saw a certain teddy bear showing like a man, to say that I have two people in my car. One is my teddy bear and it's myself, just to evade this HOV problem, right? So the thing is that we need to understand, if if you look at the modern city issues, traffic problem, so then cities are planning different things. In the same way, if you understand there are certain times that you are heavily influenced by akusalas, you need to plan out certain measures to overcome or reduce at the very least those akusala periods during the day. The same idea. Nagarupamam chittamidam tapetvam. Think about city planning, modern and ancient city planning. Ancient city planning, they had a lot of defensive system. It's actually city was a place of king's management. Nowadays, there are no kings like that. King is also living with us. So then, we understand this city is not exclusively for the kings. We understand, just like how the city management is done, planning is done, we also need to understand a similar way to manage the mind which has thoughts should be done. Okay, then we are going to the third part. Now our activity. Think about the body similar to a clay pot. We take the nature of the clay pot. Clay pot is perishable at any time. We understand the body is perishable, but not creating a pessimistic idea about the body, but by understanding this can happen anytime, taking care of the body. In case we cannot take care of the body, we understand that body embrace the clay pot nature of life. Secondly, the mind which has thoughts, we have to understand the activity that we can do to mind is like taking care of the mind as a city in ancient time, or a fortress in ancient time, and a city in modern time. And then now our action. I or we, this is implied here. That part is not here. Panya Vudena Marang Yodet. This part, number 1, 2, number 3. Panya, so use the weapon of wisdom to fight. Yodeta means fight. This comes from Yuddha. Yuddha. Yuddha means war in Pali. Yodeta means the verbal pattern over here. So by considering the body is like a clay pot and the mind is like a city, then by understanding these two areas, one has to pick up, grab the weapon of wisdom for what? To fight with the Mara. You are going to do something impossible. Huh? Mission impossible. But now, mission possible. The Buddha says if you pick up, if you grab the weapon of wisdom, you can even fight with Mara. Will that be an easy thing to do, to fight with Mara? We learn from the Buddha. Seems to be somewhat challenging. But can we fight with Mara? Where is Mara located? Where is he? Mara has a fivefold manifestation. Out of these fivefold manifestations, 4 out of 5, they live in our life. Because we are Maras in 4 ways. Chandima means anybody who carries five anchors is a Mara. We all carry 5 anchors. Even a tiny animal. And then, second is anybody who are dealing with akusalas, kilesas, they are called Maras in the second manifestation. Third, anybody who is doing good karma, bad karma, also Mara. Call it Abhisankarma. Anybody who is going to die as a nature of becoming a sentient being is also Mara. We call it Machumara. Finally, Deva Putta Mara. This is a Deva living in one of the highest heaven actually, Paranimita Vasavatti. Now, you are basically fighting with Vasavatti Mara, the last one, Deva Putta Mara. Right? How to fight with him? What is his wish actually? Now you have what is your wish actually at the end of any good any Dhamma activity? Do you make a wish at the end of any good karma? And what is that wish? May I become a very, very big Deva and Vasavati Mara, Deva Buddha Mara, highest heaven. So, yeah, come. So, you are coming to me. This is my wish too, And I'm telling you, his wish is that asking you to be reborn and reborn, perhaps in my place or somewhere else. Right? It's like somebody is making a nice statement like, may you attain Nibbana, writing in the eulogy, and then after that point, say, may you live with us in the future. May you be among us in the future. We can't let you go, So, two paradoxes, cannot understand which one is true, which one is untrue. So we have to particularly understand Mara's wish is, may everybody be reborn again. But he has his own purpose. So if someone here would like to be reborn, is it a bad idea? We cannot say it's a bad idea. It's one's own wish. Right? Some people are not satisfied enough to go to Nibbana, right? Right? They are not satisfied enough here yet. They know from a Dhamma talk, yeah, we have to attain Nibbana, but I'm not happy enough here. So how to find out greater happiness now? If Nibbana is the greatest happiness, then I have to be happy first, right? If I'm not happy, how to hit that greatest happiness? So then we have to understand that part. So if somebody is making that wish, go for it, it's okay. But because we have to understand everyone's life, sansaric life, more compassionately. Always create this platform, compassionately understanding everyone's sansaric life. Not always wisely understand only mere wisdom-wise understanding the life of everybody. That is not nice. So we have to bring compassion and wisdom together. Finally, that you feel that you practice Buddhism more from a compassionate background. And then use wisdom to sort of manage that compassion. Okay, so the Buddha says, you can think about, if you want, to fight with Mara. But if you declare war on Mara, you think will he become like silent or will he attack you back? Tell me. Think about when you declare war on somebody here. I don't think any Kalyana Mitta is going to declare war on any other Kalyana Mitta. They become Papa Mitta, What happens normally when somebody declaring war on somebody, they become like agitated. I gotta get you, I gotta get you. Because if you declare war on me, these natural instincts come back. So Mara will do the same for you. So don't mess up with him, If you mess up with him, you will be in the mess, the permanent mess. So if you want to do it, you have to have a good practice. And actually, you don't see this person in through your eyes. I think I gave a talk somewhere, not here, actually, probably. I think I gave a talk probably 2 weeks ago in another local center there, Malaysia, where I discussed there are 10 armies of Mara. Now you understand there are 10 armies. Normally, Mara is not coming to us directly. He first sends his armies to us. He is not a normal person, he first sends his armies. Who are his armies? Let's see. Perhaps I can show you that part. See? So, I think I'm not having the access to that particular blog post, but I can post it later. So there are 10 armies that Mara is sending out. Number one is Kama. Kama means sensual pleasure is one of the Mara's armies. But you don't have to demonize your karmas. I don't think you have to demonize. I always say, as the Buddha said, lay people have to wisely use their karmas. Mara wants us to cling to our karma. Right? He wants us to cling to our karma. Oh, yes. Yeah, let's see. What's it like? Oh, thank you, sister. Yes, thank you, Stacy Chen, sharing this. I could not find this just now. Okay, I can show them. Yeah, this was a talk I gave, I think a few weeks ago. Let's check it out. Yeah, you can see it, right? 10 armies. Gave it at BGF November 11th. And this has these, what do you call, these armies of him. These could be fake pictures, but you can understand 10 armies actually struggling even the Buddha. You can see sensual pleasures, discontent. This is interesting. People who are complaining all the time, you always have to remind them, it's not you, right? It's not you. The second army of Mara has come to you now. That's why you are complaining a lot, right? Discontent. And then the hunger and thirst, also a problem, right? See, we are getting hungry and thirsty time to time. And craving, finally. Sometimes they are, you can see overlapping, but they are not actually overlapping. You can take out the tanha part as the summum bonum, but then you see the rest of the things are actually leading up to them. Sloth and torpor, fear, doubts, conceit, and ingratitude. You see, these things we are actually going through with many people in daily life, many people. And then gain, renown, honor, and falsely received fame, self-exaltation, always talk high about oneself and then talk very bad about other people. So, Padana Sutta, Sutta Nibbana. So these are the 10 armies which the Mara sends us. If you declare war on him, he's gonna send these 10 very easily. So be ready for his armies. And then he sends his 3 daughters, Tanha, Rati, Raga. And in case nothing is gonna work, he's coming to us. So you probably would go through 3 level of attacks. But you understand that if you are in the proper Dhammapada, nobody can put you down. If you have a good practice, you have the support from that practice. Nobody can do anything to you. Right? Today's story is something like that too. So let's go check it out, the rest. Okay. Then finally, now the Buddha says, grab the weapon of wisdom to fight with the Mara. But this is not a literal fight. Some people misunderstand. This weapon is not a physical weapon. It's a spiritual weapon. And then Yodeta means you are not fighting literally like how people fight with others. You are fighting. Your fighting means you are trying to get rid of Mara's influences, 10 armies, and his influence with the wisdom weapon. And this is the activity that you are supposed to do at the end. Very interesting. Jitancha Rakke, this part is very protecting what has been won. Jitam means won, now Rakke. Very interesting. You know, in the ancient stories, we see something very interesting about this Jitancha Rakke. Now, the kings, very powerful, very strong soldiers, get tired in the war with the enemies. What they do is they are not keep fighting at that point. They are immediately running back to the fortress. And then what are they doing? They are re-energizing. They eat something, they just try to have a recharging time. They recharge themselves and then again go to fight. In the same way, the Buddha says, in our spiritual practice, when we are working with the Mara's what you call armies or Mara, pretty much defilements, if you get tired in the practice, Are you sometimes getting tired when you deal with negativity, apusalas? Are you? You getting tired. At that time, stop practicing at that point. Go back, re-energize. Re-energize yourself. Because you have to protect what has been won already. Because if you keep fighting, you will lose even what you got already. I give you a very nice example. You are such a very patient person, but somebody is trying to press your hot button, press your hot button. You become very nasty. And then you are saying, I'm such a good person. You press my hot button. So that's why I'm angry. And then you are trying very much to stay calm. Stay calm. Yeah. I learn a lot. I have to practice, but you cannot. Because you are expiring from your mental energy, stamina, Dhamma energy, everything. Then what happens? Then you will join that person's anger. You will become a part of that person's anger. And then finally, you know what's going to happen to you. I don't have to explain to you. Right? That's the time Buddha said, stop it, stop. You are out of energy now. Go back. Go back nicely. Walk away nicely. It's like sometimes when you talk to some people, you think, oh, I'm so sleepy, I have to go sleep now. Because if I keep talking to you at that point, then I don't know what I'm going to talk to you. Right? It's difficult. Sometimes I talk nonsense, non-virtuous things that are not important. So I better go to sleep. And at a certain point, you understand I'm becoming very hungry now. I cannot be like a normal person. So go eat something. Right? Most of the time, people are very, pessimistic and into akusala mind when they are very hungry and thirsty. So, I'm not saying people who are having compulsive eating. When you are hungry, this natural formal hunger, eat something, drink something. Because that's a moment of time you will join the frustration of hunger, the starving problem. Right? So, jitancha rakke, this Pali phrase is very interesting. That means never lose what you have protected in your Dhammaja. You may have been a good dana person, sila person, meditation person. Never lose what you have brought up, carried, what you have brought up to this point. Because you cannot bring it forward, carry it forward, if you are not going back and re-energize yourself. The Dhamma practice, Buddha always asks us. Jitancharak. So when you getting tired, if you think you are very tired, you are exhausted, fatigued, no energy, then stop your Dhamma practice for a moment of time and then go back and re-energize yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. You deserve that. If you don't do that, something else deserves you. Keep in mind, something else. I don't have to name that. You know what it is. You call it. Before that is going to take you over, you re-energize and then have the right mindset, come back again. Because finally, this is more about an energy problem, I think. The yoga people might look at it differently, but finally, there are many people who know a lot of Dhamma but still get caught up with the akusalas. Why? They don't know how to handle energy, virya. This is finally virya, energy. So, how to keep our kusala energy, kusala virya, not akusala virya, right? So, by understanding the moment of this, what you call energy reduction at that point, it's like a laptop, like a phone. You see that saying that battery is too low, stop talking, go charge your phone. Because when you are talking to somebody with low battery, it gives you lots of waves. Lots of waves. It's pretty bad for you. So that's interesting. And there is no automation that is happening. Now, sometimes there may be an automation happening. But for this particular activity, spiritual practice, there's no automation. You have to manually stop doing that. Make a pause. Go back to re-energize yourself. That's what the Buddha says here. Jitancha rakke. But there's another Pali word here that is interesting. Anivesanosi. Interesting. This part. Anivesanosi. Anivesanomi. You may attach to your mother, your father, your loved one, your husband, your wife, your children. That's okay in Buddhism. With an understanding that you have no clinging towards them. Some people, they take attachment in a very promiscuous way, I would say. They don't make it specific. We understand attachment and greed have different connotations. But now here what we understand by anivesano means that don't create a clinging. As long as you go back to the things that you already protected in your life, Dhamma-wise, never create a clinging to those things you create. Right? Do you think people become very clung to their spiritual practice over time? Do they become? If they become, how they become as such? Tell me a nice example, like without personally quoting anybody. Say, for instance, a very interesting example I see. I often get heard this thing actually. Conducting meditation retreats. There are moments where I ask people, hey, tell me in the comments how you experience the meditation. One of the very off-quoted comments is that I did the meditation, but somewhere in my meditation I saw that I was like floating in the sky. Is that enlightenment? Right? Is that enlightenment? Then the other person next to that person is very much worried about that. I didn't see that. I saw a black rock. And the third person is very much worried. I didn't see either of these things. It was not floating. I didn't see the black rock. I said, don't worry about these indications. When the mind is becoming concentrated, certain flashbacks are coming up. That's a good sign. But don't cling to them. Now, let me tell you how this person can be a potential clinger to this thing is that every time, without proper instruction, if he or she continues, every time he does the meditation, he or she is very easily going into that floating level. So happy, floating in the sky. Then, every time this person clings to that particular floating mindset. But the Buddha said these are certain flashbacks. That means you should never end up with those things. Rather continue the original practice of the meditation, like breath meditation, whatever meditation, metta meditation. So people can cling to Dhamma practice too. People can cling to Dana practice. People can cling to Sila practice. Remember that monk at the Buddha time? Very good monk. Of course, all monks are good now, sorry. Good monks. So this monk, and then like he was practicing very well. And then just before he passed away, he broke a certain branch of a tree. Mistakenly. At that time, there was a certain rule. The Buddha said, don't break branches of a tree. Right? Don't break a branch of a tree. Then forget about cutting the tree. And this is an olden day rule. You know why the Buddha said that? At that time, devotees could not make kutis for the monks and nuns. What did the monks do? They go to certain places, forests. They wanted to cut the trees and they cut it and they make their own temple. This was a problem. When they were questioned, they said, what to do? We need a kuti. We want to cut this tree. I want to cut this tree. The Buddha said, don't cut even a branch. Right? And then, but how to practice it today is a different story. Yeah? Because these ancient Vinaya practices sometimes have to be practiced in a proper way. Like a bunch of monks were asking devotees to cut the grass of the temple. In Canada, I said, we cannot cut the grass, but we ask devotees to cut the grass. It's same intention, right? You guys are asking them to cut the grass. Same intention, right? So the way how we're going to practice it has to be understood. That's a different thing. That's the most important thing here too. So what do you call, the monk, he somehow he mistakenly broke a certain branch where he passed away only after a couple of days. By thinking, oh, I had a very good practice, I was so good, but I did this thing. He was not happy about his own activity, this particular one activity. He singled out this particular, he could not see the larger, broader practice that he has been doing. I think this is happening to many devotees too. They're very good devotees, but they think about one small problem that they may have done in their life. Not even they are thinking, they are asking us also all the time. Like one devotee who has been asking, Bhante, how to become a beater? He said, why are you asking like this? I want to know, how can someone become a beater? So I'm just wondering about this beetle thing. Said there are different karmas. Different people's karmas are different. So when their karmas are getting processed, different things will happen to them. And then he kept asking this many times, many months. I told him at the end, if you keep thinking about this beetle, nobody can disturb you of you becoming a beetle one day. Because you are thinking about the beetle all the time. Because the last thought can affect. So the monk who was thinking about this particular small thing, today's what is this? Then he passed away by having some sadness. Why did I do it? I shouldn't have done it. Then he became a snake in the same temple. That's why it is not the akusala itself. It is the way how we look at akusala also matters in our vipaka. Sometimes you may have done a very tiny akusala. Maybe you have killed a mosquito. Huh? I hope that you are pre-exempt from killing mosquitoes. Huh? You have killed one mosquito. You have done lots of good karmas, more than this thing. But your ditti is not very expanded. You have michcha ditti. Why do I call so? You always go back to 10 years ago. I killed this mosquito. Then what about 10 years? 10 years after, how many good karmas have I been doing? Why this is not coming to my mind? Because my ditti is not samma ditti. I cannot see the larger, broader picture of my spiritual life. I only go back to that small problem. Are there people like that in us? Have you encountered these people in your life? Sometimes you go to a nice restaurant, you want to eat something sumptuous, but somebody is complaining about one small issue, tiny little issue, and going to ruin the happiness of everybody, not even who went there, also the restaurant credit. Right? So they cannot see the larger, broader picture. But who can stop their mouth not complaining? Those people who have lots of patience, who see the larger, broader picture of the thing, understanding other people with lots of compassion. Right? So that means what matters here is that how you look at it. How you look at sometimes you have done a lot of kusala karmas, but you are not able to look at them in the way how you're supposed to look at them. What a mistake in your life. Huh? That's why in this Dhamma talk, Sutta discussion, I urge you to think about, look at your good karmas and try to look at the bigger picture of your good karmas. Nobody is perfect in this world. We understand. It's more important to look at it. And then we are going back here. Anivesana, don't claim. You can protect what you have protected if you don't have the clinging part. So in spiritual practice, someone can cling. That monk clung to that particular small thing. There are many other examples. So never ever cling, but wisely use. All right. Depending on the time, we can discuss the story as well. What is the story of this stanza? Once again, I want to go back to the stanza. Have a very clear idea again. The Buddha said, know this body to be like a clay pot. Clay pot means the nature of the clay pot, right? Breakable, but don't create pessimism onto that. and establish the mind which has thoughts like a fortress in ancient time, in modern time, a city, a well-protected, well-planned city. And you know what to do with regard to the city, what they are doing, and what you are supposed to do in terms of your mind and thoughts. Don't blame anybody for any deviations. You have to take care of your thoughts. And then use the wisdom weapon to, challenge, fight with this Mars activity. Now, I give you a very simple example. How to challenge the Mara with the wisdom weapon. Take a very easy example. Food habits. Right? Hunger and thirst, they are part of the Mara's enemies. So Mara's armies. Then how to challenge food habits? You are thinking, I have been compulsively eating lots of food. I'm eating lots of sugar. I'm consuming lots of bad things. I'm eating a lot of food. Why don't I think that I can challenge my food habits? Then what you are doing indirectly, you are challenging the Mara. Not that there is Mara, where is Mara? I have to challenge him. Where is him? Where's him? It's not that kind of battling. This is something called, you look at Mara's version in your practice, in your lifestyle, and then you are going to curb them. Right? And then in that process, what you are going to do is you protect what you have won, because time to time you might be exhausted. At that time, don't continue, go back, protect and re-energize, come back, and you can do it. In the practice, try not to cling. Story is Pancha Sata Bhikkhu. What does Pancha mean? 5. Pancha means 5. Sata means
100.
100. 500 months. Okay. Okay, so there was a time that 500 monks wanted to go to a faraway place. They say 100 yojanas actually. Normally they have different measurements with regard to the distance at that time. Some say 4 miles, the American system, not the kilometers, British. 4 miles equal to 1 gawa. G long ABA gawa, that's one of the ancient, and 4 gawas are equal to 1 yojan. So these monks went for 100 yojanas, very far. You do the maths, and then what happened? They approached a certain village, and then they said, actually, the people in the village, they invited the monks, please stay with us for the 3 months. Then the people also showed them there is a forest nearby. You can stay there. At that time, probably people didn't have this temple idea, vihara idea, right? And then the monks went there. There were a lot of devas in that forest. So every time when they saw the monks, they had to get down to the tree. They are not actually, they cannot actually be in the trees. So the devas thought monks are coming, 500 monks are coming. Okay, so we can just stay on the ground for the first day, thinking that they will go back tomorrow. But monks went for Pindapata. The following day, they come back again. Oh, what's going to happen? That means we cannot go to our trees. That means devas are not staying at the foot of the tree. They are staying in these stories somewhere up in the tree. Then now they were tolerating. Every day the monks go to the city, the village, and come back again. They thought maybe in 2 weeks of time, these monks will go somewhere. Then we can happily go back to the tree. But they continue. Then they discuss, no, this is not going to work. So we had to do something for these monks. We had to chase them out. What does this mean? There are many devas who are not Buddhist devas. Don't put them into the same bracket. Many non-Buddhist devas are there. They thought from tomorrow, when these monks are coming to the forest again to stay overnight, we're going to scare them. How to scare them? We have to show them things like a body that has no head, headless body. Let's become headless bodies and then scare them. And then let's make some sounds for them, some non-human sounds. And then what happened actually when the 500 monks come back to the forest one day, I think 16th day of 2 weeks, every day they are going and coming back and forth. Some monks, they saw, or most of them, they were actually scattered everywhere, dispersed everywhere, alone. These headless bodies. So the monk A was talking to monk B, "Yeah, not good. I saw something nuts." I also saw, discussing each other. And then the non-human sounds came in because of the Deva shows non-human sound. And because of that, they had some sneezing, some some cough, some sicknesses came to them because they were very scared. Right? So finally, what happened? All the monks left the forest because then they went to the Buddha's temple and then told the Buddha, "This is happening." Then the Buddha said, "Go back to the same place." They said, "We cannot go back because there are a lot of problems in the forest. We saw headless bodies and then different sounds. We are very scared." Then the Buddha said, "I give you a weapon. Grab the weapon, go back to the forest." They was very wondering, what is that weapon? "I give you the wisdom weapon." They asked, "What is this wisdom weapon?" "I teach you a sutta. When you enter the forest, you must chant the sutta and enter the forest. When you come back from the forest to the city, you chant that sutta. When you again enter the forest, you chant it. Before entering, you must chant. Don't go inside and chant. Before entering, you must keep chanting and enter the place. And if you are exiting from the place, from the point of exiting, you are chanting and slowly exiting, and you are exited at a certain point." What do you think the sutta is? This must be a very important sutta, right?
Karaniya Metta Sutta.
Karaniya Metta Sutta. What a powerful sutta is this? That means probably you may have mistakenly chanted this sutta. That means you normally go inside the house and chant. When you are entering the house, you should have chanted the sutta. That's how the Buddha said here. When you are entering your house, because house is frequented by a lot of non-humans sometimes. You are not in the house all the time. So they think we also own this house, spiritual. It's like some animals. When the rats come to your house, what do they think? Tell me. When the rats come into 3, 4, 5, 6 rats, what do they think after that? They think this is their house. When the ants come, they think it's not other things, it's our house. In the same way, when the non-humans come to the house, they think this is their house. So then, the idea is that when you are entering the house, you are mentalizing, not you cannot chant this, like maybe it's not nice. Other people might hear you are doing black magic. You are mentalizing. You are mentalizing entering the house from gate onwards to the side. When you are exiting, the Buddha said, this is the wisdom weapon. Actually, the monks did that. You know what happened? Those devas came to them and they started respecting them. They started, doing all the things after that. Because they felt these monks are doing something for us. They are not trying to take our place home. So now I would like you to think about some of my metta retreats, talks. I always say, put challenging people into the metta practice. And in this story, these devas were challenging people. So then monks had to put them inside in their chanting, in their practice. Not that I am doing a good thing, everybody else should protect me and then do everything. No, that's not going to work. That's your practice, solo practice. So what happened at the end? That they started chanting before they enter the forest and before they leave the forest, going on to the city, back and forth. And what happened? right from the moment they were chanting, and then the devas were all very pleased. They said, please, please take over these places. We don't mind about you. That means we must get the support of the devas, not that devas come and support us out of blue. We have to do the necessary things. So that is what you call. Then today you learn something very new. Karaniya Metta Sutta is the wisdom weapon. That is the summary. And how to use this wisdom weapon, entering and then exiting part. Anywhere, not even your house. Let's say you are entering a very messed up workplace. Your boss is very bad on you. Enter the workplace by mentalizing Karaniya Metta Sutta. Boss will welcome. I mean, not just because I am telling you, but supposed to welcome you. You are entering a place you think you have a lot of struggles, problems. You are chanting. And I want to add another small thing. When you chant this Metta Sutta, you also need to know the translation, proper translation of the Metta Sutta. That is also very important, because if you have it, more effects will happen. So this is what the Buddha said. So Metta, reciting Metta. Actually, the other thing is that you think the monks didn't do a certain compassion practice in the forest? They did. But more than sitting down and thinking, may I be well, happy, peaceful, may no harm come to them. More than that, chanting this sutta with understanding what is inside the sutta is more helpful, because Deva, Naga, Mahitika are very sensitive to this sutta. They are not very much sensitive to your English. May I be, what is this? May I be happy, peaceful, may no. They might not know your English translation. That's why doing in Pali has more benefits, because they are very sensitive to that. You want to touch the sensitivity of the non-humans, right? So that's why it is very important to do that. Okay, any questions? We are almost at time. Any questions about today? If you have a question, please raise your virtual hand. Yeah, 2 questions. We will make only for 2 questions. We will maybe 3 maximum. Yes, please, Lisa. Let's go ahead.
Okay, hello Bhante. I've got a question. It's regards to the Deva. When you chant in Pali, would they understand it?
Supposed to be better. They understand better than you are chanting in your language. The problem is, people have the problem in not being able to chant or understand the Pali. Not that, if you look at the effect wise, better to chant in Pali by understanding the meaning. Now, say for instance, Karaniyam Atta Kusalena. What is Atta Kusala? Yantang Santam Pada. What is Santam Pada? Nibbana. Right? So in that way, when you mentalizing, you can't do it when you are with other people. They might think you are doing something wrong. You are mentalizing. You can mentalize. Yeah, so I think it's better to chant in Pali, because the sutta was originally given by the Buddha and then chanted by many people over many centuries. It has more effect. So devas are very vulnerable in a way, and also very sensitive to this kind of message rather than. But normally when we give a Dhamma talk, we might do it in English.
Yes.
No, that's a normal way we want to give it to many people. But in your own practice, solo practice, better to pick it up in Pali. That has more weight in terms of the result.
Okay. And it doesn't matter where you are. Like sometimes when you're abroad, in Europe or America, I guess it's the same if you just chant in Pali. Like what you say.
I think geographical locations don't matter. What matters is whether you carry it. Because it is the wisdom weapon, you gotta carry it. Grab it, carry it wherever you go. Yes. And otherwise, you have to think that the wisdom weapon is inside the house in KL. It's not going anywhere, to grab it and bring it everywhere. Yes.
And the other thing is that the sutta itself is rather long, and when you chant it when you get a house, you probably won't finish it by the time you get in. Like it's quite a long sutta, so would you recommend people actually chant the whole sutta or just part of it until you get in?
It says 10 verses, only 10.
Okay.
So now in this case, what I'm saying is that I think in order for us to chant 10 verses, it won't take time. At least if you cannot make it for 10, let's say you are entering from, think about example. Somebody enters from the gate to the house. Some houses are very, very near the gate. So you might not even make it to 4 stanzas. But at least you are entering with that first or 2 stanzas. Yeah, so you may not be able to do it as a habit, but at least you do it in 2, 3 stanzas.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
Bhante.
But if somebody has a very far distance from gate to the house, or a very big house, like a mansion, like a bungalow, then perhaps this person might chant the whole 10 verses. It depends. Yes. Next question was asked by, who's that? Somebody else. Yeah, Katie, yes, please.
I forgot my question.
Did I answer?
No. Just now, Bhante will mention about the viraya, right? The
Virya, yeah.
So does it mean that it's also referred to the effort? Like,
No. Virya and Vayama are 2 different things. Virya, okay, that's a very interesting question too. Now, Virya means energy. In Pali, we call it energy. This can be a good energy, can kusala energy or akusala energy. But Vayama also can be a Michcha Vayama. Kusala effort, maybe kusala effort. So normally, when you pick up the energy, the way how you are going to do that energy will become the Vayama at the end. How you going to use it in your own way. So Virya is the fundamental normal energy. Vayama is how you are going to make it to your spiritual practice.
yeah, because some of them translate the viraya as effort instead of energy.
You can't be synonymous, with both. That's why the translation matters.
Yeah, especially in the Dhammapada, a lot of the verses, they just put this viraya as an effort. So
Yeah.
that's why when we pick up, it's just like assume, oh, that's referred to the effort. So this is my first time, I'm like, oh, how the viraya is linked to the energy.
Energy is the primary state of that activity. Vayama is how you are going to personalizing that particular effort into your own practice. So if Virya and Vayama is similar, synonymous, then why they were given in 2 Pali words? They are carrying 2.
How the English they translate into a different.
English could be energy and then effort. Energy and effort. Now, energy is energy. Effort means somebody how can someone put that energy into one's own practice? Effort. Pretty clear.
Yep. Thank you, Bhante. Clear.
Okay. Hope that these are the questions. Anybody has any other question? Can you have? Maybe I can answer one more question. If you have. All right. So we will then. Yes, it's Polly. Please go ahead. Make it a quick question. Yes.
One day quickly, does it mean that higher once you are like at higher levels, then the actual Devaputta Mara will come and see you? Is it when you reach Buddhahood or something? When will the real Mara come and visit us? Just as
Okay. No, real Mara doesn't come to normal people actually, because Mara has already entangled us, ensnared us with his other personifications. I said Kanda Mara, Kilesa Mara, Abhisankara Mara, and Machu Mara. They all are lying within us. We have 5 aggregates, we have akusala energies, and we do good karma, bad karma, we die. So the real Mara, normally, it is said normally, uses to come when any of the other Maras, including his Mara armies are not going to really make an impact on that particular person. More particularly, for someone who's going to enlighten. I remember one small story I can make it. There was one monk who was sweeping the floor, and that day, Mara saw when he sees the pile of the garbage he's making by sweeping, he will become enlightened. The way how he swept the floor. So he came in a different, he impersonated somebody, and then he said, you should not do this. I am Mara. And then he said, okay, I will not do it, but on one condition, that the monk said. Then he asked, what is your condition? He said, if you transcend into the real Buddha, Shakyamuni. Now Buddha has passed away 200 years ago at that time. Maybe this happened during Ashoka's time. If you trans into the real Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, then I would stop this. He said, what a small, it's a small funny thing. I saw him and I fought with him. So I know him. It's a small, very easy thing. So he, in a moment of time, he trans into the Shakyamuni Buddha, the real Buddha. It's not the Buddha statues that you are seeing nowadays. Buddha images, Buddha statues everywhere. Nobody has seen the Buddha nowadays, right? Has someone seen the Buddha? Nobody. They only sculpture it the way that they think this could be the Buddha. Then the moment the monk saw the real Buddha, he became enlightened. The Mara thought, what a bad thing I did. Now I lost this person. I shouldn't have done this for this person. My whole purpose went wrong. That means if you see the real Buddha, some people create their own conditions and causes to become enlightened. So real Mara can sometimes come like this. But normally he's not. Normally his other personifications come and disturb. Okay, I think with that we are going to wrap this up. May all the good karmas we be making today be transferred to all the departed ones. May they be well and happy, peaceful. At the same time, may they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We're going to recite the stanzas. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. We are then going to share all these good karmas with Devanaga Indika. May they be well and happy. May they protect and bless all of us for good health, quality of life, prosperity, and safety. May they in particular bless our Dhammajanis. May they finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata cha amhihi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabbasang patti siddhya. Ittavata cha amhihi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabbasang patti siddhya. Ittavata cha amhihi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe sattha anumodantu sabbasang patti siddhya. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu desanang. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu mang paranti. Chirang rakhantu man sanam. Dhamma wish. Our Dhamma wish is to be surrounded with Kalyana Mittas till we attain Nibbana, all the way to Nibbana. We understand that without Kalyana Mittas, our Dhamma journey is not going to be easy, not complete. With the Kalyana Mittas, Dhamma journey is going to be very easy, at the same time very blessed to keep up. Thinking thus, let's wish, may we be surrounded with Kalyana Mitras all the way to Nibbana. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hu yava nibbana patya. Finally, may all the good karmas we be making today by learning about Dhamma, Dhamma weapon, I would say. Dhamma weapon here means wisdom weapon. It's not a physical weapon. We're not going to harm anybody. It is for our own defense in tackling, managing our amusalas. And then the Buddha said how to do it. It is none other than understanding and chanting the Karaniya Metta Sutta. So I think you are doing that already, but think about it differently today. I think how the Buddha said that. May all these good karmas be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silissa nichang vadha pachainu chattaru dhamma vadhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminati samichatu sadhu sadhu sadhu. With that blessing, would like to wish a pleasant evening. Good night, everybody. Until we see.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank
you,
you,
Bhante.
for the success
Thank you,
and
Bhante.
blessings for your
Thank you,
family.
Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you,
Bye.
Bhante.
Bhante.
All the best, your new
Okay.
job.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you,
Sadhu,
Bhante.
sadhu,
Sadhu,
Bhante.
Thank you.
sadhu,
Success
sadhu.
and
Sadhu, Bhante.
Okay, everybody, good night.
night.
Night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Yes.